As
Infamous, infamous.
oh no, yeah, you spent quarantine very well with your family. You guys had a lot of fun, or at least it seemed on the social media. You guys had a lot of fun. Maybe your wife might say a little bit differently, and saying glad that you're back to work and glad you're gotten out of the house again. But you guys seem to have a lot of fun during the quarantine months.
Well, we all three boys at home. We talked about it and said, really, this is probably one of the last times that the five of us will be together for an extended period of time, and so it really was some good family time, and the especially our middle one was able to convince the rest of the family to take part in a couple of social media videos, and including one that seemed to make a lot of rounds around the Pierre community, and it was a lot of fun. It kind of took on a little bit of a life of their own, but we certainly enjoyed it, and I think we hopefully we're able to put some smiles on some people's faces, and I tell you what, and if we could do that at a time when things were a little stressful for people, then that was a good thing to do.
Well, you put a lot of smile on people's faces earlier tonight when I tweeted out that just snippet of that video of you doing one of those TikTok videos. You put the smile on people's faces for several weeks now because it just keeps making its rounds on social media. Your son Bradley even said that after that we need to make it into a GIF and not just that snippet of the video. So we'll see if he actually comes through, because I said, hey, we're going to be on the air for 4 hours, Bradley. It's your job to make that into a GIF and send it back to me.
Well, like I've told some friends of mine, I mean, just understand that once you see it, you can't unsee it. So.
So if you haven't seen that video or just want to see that one snippet of Greg Dean doing a small little dance, head over to my Twitter page at JAWink20, and you'll gladly you say you once you see it, you can't unsee it, but it's so much fun. I mean, you got to see it. Just go over the Twitter page and see that quick little video. You'll get a nice laugh, especially, and I mean, everybody in the Pierre area knows Greg Dean anyway, so it'll be one that will put a couple laughs to you on this Friday night.
Hopefully it will.
Hopefully not too many people get sick from it either. As they're announcing the starting lineups for both Pierre and Rapid City post 22. We'll step aside for 2 minutes as we're going to have the national anthem. We'll have game 2 for you in just a little bit. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR, KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here into the Fitz as we're getting set for game number 2, and we will go through the starting lineups here in just a second. John Winkler alongside Greg Dean. For Pierre State, it will be Andrew Coverdale leading things off as he will play second base. Garrett Stout will bat second again, playing shortstop. It will be batting third, Andy Gordon. He's going to play first base in game number 2. So the first six guys in the batting order stay the same. As Great Zay will bat fourth as he's the DH. McGuire Rasky is going to be in right field, batting fifth. River Iverson batting sixth, playing left field. Matt Lusk moves in the lineup, batting seventh and playing center field. Lincoln Keenels will bat eighth, playing third base. And Kate Hinkle, the catcher, will bat ninth for Post State. Jack Van Camp is on the mound in game number 2 for Pierre Post State. Jake Goebel is on the mound here for Rapid City Post 22. The right-hander finishes his warm-up tosses as we go around the outfield. Is going to be Jed Jansen, and left field, Keel is still in center field, and at right field it is Blake Weaver. At third base, it is Ryan Bachman. He moves from second to third for game number 2. Hartford stays at short. The second baseman is Peyton Tipton, as he moves in the lineup. The first baseman will be Isaac Arnold yet again. The catcher is Thomas McGuire for game number 2, and of course on the mound again is Jake Goebel, as we are set for first pitch here in game number 2. First pitch from Bachman is taken high for ball 1 at 7:37 local, 8:31 Central Time. Here for game number 2. Goebel's 1-0 pitch hits the letters for strike 1, 1-1. Goebel comes straight over the top on his windup delivery. You got those guys that throw sidewind and maybe a little submarine, but he throws straight from the top. And it's now 2-1 to Coverdale.
Yeah, wants to use that 6'5" frame and leverage coming right down the hill, right over the top. Goebel, like we said, a rising senior, 2021. And a verbal commit to South Dakota State University to pitch there. His 2019 stats with Post 22, 3.97 ERA, 44 innings pitched, 43 strikeouts, and a 6-1 record.
2-2 pitch. Coverdale is behind it, but he's still able to get a piece of it and stays alive at 2-2. Coverdale in game number 1 went 2 for 4. A lot of these guys had multiple hits for Post State. And they had 11 hits out of those 9 guys in the lineup, so that's a good start for Post State. The 2-2 curveball that doesn't break, and it's now 3-2. And Coverdale, as he does a lot, works a full count.
And we talked about that in game 1, that Coverdale is really kind of what you want to see in a leadoff hitter. He works the count, likes to take a lot of pitches, like to see a lot of pitches, gives the guys hitting behind him an opportunity to just kind of see what the pitcher's got. And after working the count to 3-2, he slides one right through the right side for a base hit.
And the leadoff man is aboard to open up game number 2, just like game number 1. And we'll see, obviously, that's just the leadoff man aboard, but we'll see how the situational hitting, if that has a better opportunity for Post State, and they are able to capitalize in game number 2. That was their fault in game 1 when there was those 9 guys left on base, but those first 2 guys continue to get on base as the first pitch to Stout gets to the backstop and an easy jog to second for Coverdale, and now he's already in scoring position here with nobody out.
And with the sun being where it is, the ball right now will come out of Goebel's hand in the sunshine and then go into the shadows about halfway between home plate and the pitcher's mound. That's awful tough for a hitter to try to pick up the spin and try to figure out what kind of pitch is coming.
Stout tried to butt one down, and that one will go foul, and it's now 1-1.
Probably be about another, I would say 15, 20 minutes or so before the pitching mound is fully in the shadows as well, before that disadvantage is taken away from the hitter, especially against a 6'5" Goebel.
The 1-1 pitch to Stout. That one's grounded to the right side. That one will be fielded by the second baseman, but nobody's covering first, so Stout will get to first base on an infield single, and it's first and third with nobody out. It's a good play by Tipton, but Arnold went for the ball, and the pitcher in Goebel didn't start to move his way to first base and end up being too late. An easy infield single for Garrett Stout.
Yeah, and that's the fault of the pitcher for not getting over to cover first base. Anything that's hit to the right side, if you're a pitcher, you've got to be moving and sprinting towards first base because Arnold.
Oh, there's a nice pickoff move and he got him.
Stout is picked off at first base, as unable to get back to first on the pickoff attempt, and I don't know if Coach White is upset with Stout or upset with the second base umpire, but he is thrown out on a pickoff attempt, and there's one down, and that one is that's a big blow to this first inning.
Well, in the way that Coach White was glaring at the second base umpire, he wasn't looking at Garrett Stout. He was staring down the second base umpire, and the second base umpire was not even looking his way.
The 1-0 pitch to Andy Gordon. That one misses inside, gets away, and there comes Coverdale trying to score. The throw is not in time. Actually, it was in time, but Goebel dropped the ball, and Coverdale slides in safely. And it's a 1-0 lead, and Post State's got their first lead here tonight in the doubleheader.
Yeah, and heads up running by Coverdale. That was a close play at home plate, and luckily Goebel was not able to secure the throw from the catcher, and Coverdale comes in underneath the tag, and like you said, Post State gets their first lead of tonight.
And the 2-0 pitch bounces right in front of McGuire, and Thomas McGuire is not able to snag it, so it's now 3-0. It's tough for a catcher too. The ball's coming in from those shadows, and it's tough for the catcher to pick up. Even though he knows what's coming, it's still tougher to pick up. 3-0 pitch is on the outside edge, now 3-1. You know, and really where Goebel's standing at, it's almost like the ball might start out in the shadow, go into the sun, and then come back to the shadow because that light pole. Actually, it's not even a light pole. I'm not sure what. I guess it's the pole itself for the lights is causing a little bit of shadow right over the mound as the 3-1 pitch is fouled back to the screen, now 3-2. So that's even harder to go from the shadow of the sun to the shadow again. There's a 3-2 pitch that's chopped right back to the mound as Goebel had to wait for it to fall all the way down from that about got 20 feet in the air on the chopper, and he was able to throw to first in time, and Gordon's retired for the second out.
Yeah, and that's one of those plays that as a pitcher you're just hoping the ball comes down faster than what it does, because you really are just helpless right there, just standing for it, waiting for it to come down, and luckily for Rapid City they were able to secure the ball and make an easy throw over to first base and retire Gordon on the ground out.
Here's Gray Zabel, the DH in this ball game. He went 0 for 4 in game number 1 as he looks for his first hit here today. The 0-1 pitch to Zabel. That one's looked at for a strike too, and it's now 0-2 to the DH. And the big man Gray Zabel, who will most likely get a start on Sunday, we'll see him pitch quite a bit where we didn't think he was going to be able to play at all for Post State. 0-2 is just got a piece with Zabel, and he'll stay alive at 0-2. And like I said, everything that Zabel does, and obviously he's not going to hit 1,000. He's not going to hit 500 for this team, but just having Zabel in the lineup is a huge benefit for Post State every single time he's in the lineup. 0-2 is a chopper to third base. Waiting for it is a third baseman, Bachman. A long throw to first, and it's safe as Zabel. And the speed of Gray Zabel, an infield single.
Yeah, and that's something you saw a lot of last year on the Pierre football team was Gray Zabel pulling out of his center position and leading that running attack around one side or the other, and that's exactly what he did on that play. Just wheeled out of the batter's box and just legged out an infield single, and the Eights got something going here still in the top of the first with 2 outs and a runner on.
McGuire Rasky will look at ball 1, the right fielder here in game number 2. Rasky 2 for 4 in the ball game in game number 1. 1-0 lead for Post State. 3 hits in the inning. The 1-0 just misses Rasky, and I'm sure a little bit of flashback from last summer when Rasky got hit by a pitch in the right hand and broke his hand. He was out he really didn't hit much at all the rest of the season, only came into pitch, and that was it, as he just couldn't get that right hand feeling good enough to grip the bat and swing. 2-0 pitch, and it's now 3-0, and Rasky hits the deck as Thomas McGuire, got up real quick to maybe get a throw over to first, but did not make an attempt. Couple of scores from Post State. The 14U team, they got a doubleheader sweep of Watertown. 3-0 is missed for ball 4, now a 4-pitch walk in his first and second. The Junior Legion team, they just won 10-2 over the Cheyenne Coyotes 18U team. So an 8-run win for the Junior Legion here, just about a couple of football fields away from us.
Yeah, over across the parking lot at post 320 over at Pete Lean Field.
First and second with 2 down. Here's River Iverson. First pitch to him is taken for ball 1. Misses inside and possibly a little high. Iverson also had 2 hits in game number 1. He went 2 for 3 with 2 singles. 2 men are aboard here with 2 outs in the top of the first inning. Looking to tack on that 1-0 lead. That one's in the dirt, and a good block there from Thomas McGuire, and Zabel will have to hold at second. And it's now 2-0.
And again, here we're in that situation where we talked about from game 1. This is a situation where you need a good piece of hitting. You need that 2-out base hit with a runner in scoring position. You'd like to put up more than just one. Unfortunately, had Garrett Stout picked off a first base earlier in the inning, but now you got an opportunity with a runner in scoring position, another runner behind him at first base. You'd like to put something in play. Base hit would likely score at least 1. Something into the gap would probably score 2.
6 straight misses here from Jake Goebel. The 2-0 pitch. That one's taken for strike 1 after Thomas McGuire went out to talk with him. And it's now 2-1 to Iverson. Still good hitters count here for the left fielder, as he looks to add to this 1-0 lead. Straight away out in center field, maybe shading a little bit to pull out in center for Keel. 2-1 pitches upstairs, 3-1 to throw to first base. That one's going to get in the left field. Rasky will head for second, started to head for second, and the right fielder ended up bobbling it. And it's going out first and third. So Rasky didn't get to second, and he hesitated just a little bit, didn't expect the right fielder and Weaver to bobble the ball, which would have allowed Rasky to get to second base, but instead he stays at first. So it's now first and third here in a 3-1 count to River Iverson.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that McGuire slipped at first base or just didn't quite get a good read on that, because if he could get second and third with 2 outs, you'd definitely be in a situation where you'd have an opportunity with a base hit to score a pair, and now Iverson walks, and now we got bases loaded, and we got a mound visit coming out for post 22.
And so the Rasky not taking that extra base doesn't come back to bite them post 8 in this first inning, because it's now bases loaded. And here's Matt Lusk. His first chance in this doubleheader did not start in game number 1. And now here playing center field in game number 2. We'll see what he can do in his first at-bat. Again, mound visit here for post 22. And Jake Goebel struggling to get out of this first inning. Although with everything going on, and this is the 7th man to come to the plate, if he does get Lusk out, he'll somehow escape a 3-hit inning with 2 walks in the inning and only give up 1 run.
Yeah, and again, you don't want to say that they're snake bit, but that pickoff play at first, right now that would be worth another run for post 8, and there'd only be 1 out on the board instead of 2.
So the first pitch to Matt Lusk is taken for strike 1. And Jake Goebel with those shadows just about right at his release point now. So there's just maybe another 2 minutes or so of having to look from the sun to the shadows, as that 1 pitch is a curveball in the dirt, now 1-1. That's, you've seen a couple, you could probably go to YouTube and search some videos of that happening in Major League Baseball. The 1-1 pitch, that one's chopped foul, now 1-2. But the difficulty of that transition of sun to shadow in a slow-mo is just unbelievable. How that difference it makes from going from the sun to the shadow, and it's just so hard to see that baseball come through, and it's tremendously difficult for a hitter. 1-2 pitch. That one's in the dirt now, 2-2, and a good block there from Thomas McGuire.
Yeah, you really are taught as a hitter to try to pick up spin and try to pick up rotation, and to get your eyes to adjust from that sunshine to the shadows is virtually impossible for a hitter.
2-2 pitch, chopped foul to the third base dugout, remains 2-2.
And it really puts the pitcher at an advantage. And so if you've got some kind of a hard slider that you can make look like a fastball, or a changeup that really disguises as a fastball. That's really what you want to do is take advantage of a situation like that and just and see if you can fool the hitters while you've got this advantage of the sun and the shadows.
The 2-2 misses, and it's now 3-2, which means all three runners will get a head start. Zabel with the somewhat of a jog to home plate so he doesn't get hit by a line drive. The 3-2 on its way. Lusk will pop it up to left center field. Coming in is Keel. He will call for it. Doesn't even put his glove up to shade the sun and makes the catch for the third out, and that will retire the side. 1 run scores on 3 hits in the inning. 2 walks as well. But the Post State team strands 3 with only scored 1 in that top of the first. We head to the bottom of the first inning. Post State up 1-0 as Post 22 comes to the plate. You listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, the bottom of the first inning, as we go through the lineup here for the Post 22 Hardhats, as it will be Branson Keel to lead things off. The center fielder in game number 2. Colton Hartford, the shortstop, batting second. Ryan Bachman will bat third, play third base. Dylan Ritchie's the DH, batting fourth. Isaac Arnold batting fifth at first base. Blake Weaver batting sixth. Peyton Tipton, the seventh hitter. Jet Jansen, the eighth hitter. And Thomas McGuire will round things out for Post 22. Jack Van Camp on the mound. His first pitch, the left-hander will deal to Keel, and that one's taken for strike 1. Van Camp is on for his second start. Had a start that didn't go his way in that first game against Mitchell, but didn't get a whole lot of help as there was just too many errors in that ball game for Post State. Had 5 in the game in total, and really didn't help out Van Camp from the mound as the throw back from Hinkle. It's now 1-1, but Van Camp was right in the middle of the sun, and so the shortstop Stout, and that's the type of what we're seeing with where that sun is. It's really hard for the pitcher of Van Camp to see it.
Yeah, Van Camp, a lefty, comes at you from a hard first degree angle. He's not really a sidearmer. He's more what I would call a slinger in the Randy Johnson mode, except he's more closer to 5'10" than 6'10".
The 2-1 pitch is outside 3-1. And yeah, you're right. And Van Camp does have that sling type of motion to it, and it's hard for hitters to pick up and get a good off-speed pitch, and it's really hard to kind of determine that spin coming out of his hand. 3-1 pitch is at the knees, and it's now 3-2. To the leadoff hitter, Keel. River Iverson's out in left, Matt Lusk in center, McGuire Rasky in right. Lincoln Keenel's at third, Stout at short, Coverdale at second, Gordon at first, and Hinkle behind the plate. Here's the payoff pitch to Keel. Fly ball out to left field. Iverson going back on it. Still going back over his head, and it will one hop off the wall. Iverson will have to try and grab it at the wall to throw to third. It's not going to be in time, and Keel will fly into a leadoff triple as Iverson had a little bit of trouble picking that ball up off the wall and getting it into the cutoff man Stout.
Yeah, and again, we talked about the fact in game 1 that even though Post 22 had 10 hits, they really didn't hit many balls real hard. That's really probably one of the few balls they've really barreled up tonight. And Keel hit that one all the way to the warning track out in left center field.
First pitch is taking a strike 1 to Colton Hartford. As Colton Hartford steps to the plate for the first time here in game number 2. He was 2 for 3 with a 3 RBI in the game, a 2 RBI triple in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 0-1 just a bit outside, and it's 1-1. I actually mean it was just a bit outside, not the Bob Uecker version of just a bit outside.
Yeah, now you're channeling your inner John Winkler.
That's that's not as good as channeling the inner Bob Uecker. The 1-1 pitch is outside, 2-1.
Must be in the front row.
2-1 the count here to Colton Hartford. Boy,
for those of you under 40, just Google old Bob Uecker Bud Light or Miller Lite commercials, and that phrase will come up for you.
The 2-1 pitch is swing and a miss, and it's now 2-2. And it's funny too, because every time when I was younger, when we go to Walmart or we go to any grocery store or just any restaurant, and we get to the front row, my dad would always say, "Must be in the front row," and it never failed that he would say that every single time. 2-2 pitches outside, 3-2. I hope he's listening tonight and he can either laughing about it or go, "No, I didn't say that all the time." Hey, yes, you did, Dad. Yes, you did.
Some of those great taste, less filling early Miller Lite commercials. There's some true classics with all the classic sports figures they were able to drag out and put in those commercials.
3-2 pitch misses to Hartford, and it's a walk to Hartford. It is now runner to the quarters with nobody out.
Some interesting personalities. Uecker, probably one of the best ones was Rodney Dangerfield. Had a recurring role in several of them, including a classic bowling one that again is truly worth your time finding on YouTube.
And so obviously you remember this and do it after the game. Don't do it right now while the game is going on. Wait till after the game and enjoy that after we get done here sometime. A little after 10 o'clock or so here on this Friday evening. First pitch to Ryan Bachman is fouled back to the netting, and it's 0-1 to the third baseman. Bachman played second in the first game. He went 1 for 3 as the 0-1 pitch misses, and it's now 1-1.
As with every doubleheader, the umpires switch positions. The strike zone for this game, it looks to be a lot tighter than that first game. I mean, that outside corner doesn't look like it's there, and the home plate umpire for game one had a little bit of a lower strike zone. Looked like what would have been a strike in game one. Van Camp is just not getting the benefit of the doubt here in game two.
And it's now 1-2 here as that one was fouled back. Van Camp pickoff move to first and back in safely is Hartford. And that's the thing and the great thing about baseball is frustrating. I shouldn't say all the time frustrating, but the various strike zones, obviously in basketball, some officials call a little bit tighter than others, but most umpires, you kind of get to know their strike zone when you've had them a couple of times, and every strike zone is just a little bit different. The 1-2 pitch is inside and low, now 2-2. And of course, there's the rule book strike zone of the square and where it's at in the plate and to the letters to the knees, but sometimes those umpires give a little bit more out on the edge, a little bit less on the edge or so, and the 2-2 runner is moving. Now 3-2 as that one's high and no throw down to second, and Hartford will get the steal.
Yeah, and it depends on where the umpire sets up. I mean, are they directly over the catcher? Are they over one shoulder? Are they favoring one side of the plate or the other? You kind of take an inning or so to kind of get a read on what the umpire is going to call, and hopefully then you can kind of settle in and figure out where his strike zone is.
Bachman will ground it to the second baseman, Coverdale. The throw to first is in time, but that will bring home the first run and Keel. So the game is tied at 1-1, and the runner is at third. That go-ahead run here in the bottom of the first. Hartford is now at third base, and Dylan Ritchie, the DH, will step to the plate. Ritchie went 3 for 4 in the game. He reached on an error in the one time that he was technically 0 for 1 on his at-bat, but he got a double and 2 singles, and he drove in 2 different runs in those 4 at-bats. First pitch misses outside to the DH, Ritchie. 1-0 is inside, and that one did not hit Ritchie, and the runner will come in to score. So it's now a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, and I think both Van Camp and Hinkle thought that hit Ritchie, which would be a dead ball, and because Hinkle really didn't move after the ball got by him, and the umpire didn't make a call, and so the ball ended up back at the backstop, and Hartford comes in from third to score, and 22 now has a 2-1 lead here in the bottom of the first.
And really, when you look at it, and Van Camp's now 3-0, but he gave up the triple and a walk, and he's got the ground out so far, and it's now 3-1. But you look at how Jake Goebel threw in that first inning, and you would think how Van Camp has started this, that Post 8 should still have the lead 3-4 batters in, but instead it's Post 22 with a 1-run lead and a 1-out walk to Richie. And that'll bring in Isaac Arnold. And so both starting pitchers are struggling here in the bottom of the first, or in the first inning, although Post 8 has already got that 1-run lead. They're up 2-1 here with 1 out and 1 run on, as Isaac Arnold will step to the plate. And the first pitch is missed inside by Van Camp.
And like any other pitcher, for Jack to be successful, he's got to pound the strike zone, and he's just, when he's consistent in the strike zone, he is as tough a pitcher as you're going to see. And right now he's just struggling to find those corners, and that invites a mound visit from pitching coach Peyton Zabel.
And since we have a little bit of time, Peyton Zabel, he started working with the Post 8 last summer, and he's really taken this job by the horns and has really helped out this pitching staff and has really brought in a lot of extra velocity to a lot of these pitchers. And he's not working just with the senior legion; he's working with everybody all the way down through the Post 8 system, and that's huge for the growth of the Post 8 program. And he's done a very good job in the first year and now. Or I guess, a year and a couple weeks of Post 8 here this year.
Yeah, and his ability to take what he has learned in his short time after his Post 8 career has ended, just from his time at Augustana and a year down at Iowa Western, he really has become a student of the pitching game, and he is able to translate that back to these young men in the Post 8 program. And not only are you seeing a lot more depth in the pitching staff, you're seeing a lot more consistency, and you're seeing real upticks in velocity even during the season.
2-1 pitch is inside now, 3-1 to Isaac Arnold. And they, Coach White and Coach Nas are talking about that too. And really, and for me, I didn't get to start to know Peyton until this past summer. He had his Tommy John surgery. 3-1 pitch. Runner is moving. The strike is called. Throw to second is passed out, but Coverdale will back it up. And Richie is on at second now, and the count is now full at 3-2. But and maybe he was as good as what he was before he had that Tommy John surgery. But I think he had a lot more downtime. So he really started studying up and really became a student of treating his body right and finding ways to make himself stronger and work harder and work better to be a better pitcher. And it's really turned into, for him, really good opportunity. And for this Post 8 team, a really good thing too.
Well, I think he's definitely gotten stronger. I think he's physically matured. I think he has again become a more of a student of the mechanics of pitching, just the mental side of what it takes to be a good pitcher. And I think from what I'm hearing, and I think what you and I were talking off air, I think there's some real good things potentially on the line coming for Peyton Zabel here in the near future, as long as he can stay healthy. And that's the thing with any athlete, but especially with a pitcher.
Isaac Arnold drew a walk, 0-1 pitch to Blake Weaver. That next one is just outside now, 1-1. Weaver went 0 for 4 in game number 1. He had 2 flyouts, actually 3 flyouts, and then also grounded into a fielder's choice, which ended an inning as well. The 1-1 pitch to Weaver is over for strike 2. And it's now 1-2. The runner's taken off for third. A lackadaisical throw to third base, or back to the pitcher to Van Camp. And Richie took advantage of it as the throw to third. Keenels couldn't feel it cleanly, so Richie was heads up. Hinkle didn't throw the ball hard, hadn't thrown the ball hard back to Van Camp the last couple of times, and Richie just took off for third base and ended up getting there rather easily. And it's now first and third, although the double play is still in order in a 1-2 count to Blake Weaver. Van Camp will go from the stretch. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Runner is off. That one will be fouled back by Weaver, so we'll do it again at 1-2. And it's the little things, especially against Post 22, the little things that will beat you if you don't do it right.
Yeah, and they are. I think they're just itching right now. Post 22 is just itching to just kind of break out, and you'll see them take advantage of lots of lots of little things. And like we said, if this was a normal year and they were into their regular season, but I think they're just trying to get out on the field and just see what they can do right now.
The 1-2 pitch misses inside, skipped away from Hinkle, but it will be not far enough to get Richie to come home. But going from first to second is Arnold. So now the double play has been taken out of order, and it's 2-2 with one down here in the bottom of the first, and post 22 is threatening to put up a huge crooked number in this bottom of the first inning. Here's the 2-2 from Van Camp from the windup. That one's grounded to the right side. It'll bring home the run as Coverdale will throw to first in time. So that's the second time there's been a ground out to Coverdale in this inning, but it's driven in 2 runs on those 2 ground outs. And Isaac Arnold will go to third base, and it's now 3-1 here for post 22. That's the second time they've put up 3 runs in the first inning in this doubleheader.
And again, I mean, Post 8 finds himself playing from behind. I mean, you hope that they can get the bats going and take advantage of the hits that they have gotten tonight. But again, you really never like to play from behind because you just only have so many outs in an evening, and you can take advantage of. And right now, Post 8 is, while they've gotten the hits, they just haven't been able to show they've been able to get that situational or 2-out hit tonight.
It is Peyton Tipton who was first at bat of the doubleheader, and it's a 1-1 count to Peyton Tipton. The 1-1 from Van Camp. That one's fouled back, and it's now 1-2. You look up at the scoreboard, and Post 8 has got a 1-3-0 up there, but Post 22's got a 3-1-1. So 3 runs on 1 hit for Post 22 and 1 run on 3 hits for Post 8. So those walks so far in this first inning have come back to haunt Jack Van Camp. There's a 1-2 pitch that's grounded down to the third base coach, and it will remain 1-2. Lights are on. Shadows are all the way across the ballpark now as we are just past the 9 o'clock hour Central Time, 8 o'clock local. You're listening to KCCR Peary Riverfront Broadcasting Station. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and Tipton goes down on strikes, and that will retire the side. 3-run score on just 1 hit in the inning. No errors, and 1 man left on base. We have played 1 full inning, and Post 8 is down by 2 to Post 22, 3-1. Back in a minute, you're listening to Post 8 Baseball. Today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, top of the second inning, 3-1 lead for Post 22, as it will be 8-9-1 for Post 8. Both teams had 7 guys come to the plate in the first inning, but Post 22 scored 3 runs, while Post 8 scored just 1. Or I should say, you had 7 guys come to the plate. I might have said 8 guys. 7 guys came to the plate. This is the number 8 for Lincoln Keenels. 8-9-1 for Post 8. First pitch is taken for a strike 1 to the third baseman, Keenels. The 0-1 pitch, curveball, and it's now 0-2. Keenels in game number 1 went 0 for 3. Still looking for that first hit here in that Senior Legion career for Lincoln Keenels. The 0-2, swing and a miss, and 3 pitches and 1 down here in the top of the second inning. And they'll bring in Cade Hinkle, who went 1 for 3 in the first game. Boy, Hinkle is a guy that we saw him not catch 1 inning last summer, and that was because he was the pitcher. So he's been a guy that for probably the last, what would that be, maybe 14 months now, is dating back to the spring of 2019. Every once in a while he got a game off of not catching, but late in that season he's been the catcher and all the catcher every single inning except for one since Post State started in 2019.
Yeah, he really has been an iron horse behind there. He's just a young man whose name you can pencil in the order, and he's just that kind of blue collar type of personality that you just really love to put behind the plate, because he'll play dirty, he'll play hurt. He just straps on the gear and goes out every inning.
And he will be going to play college baseball as well next fall. 2-1 pitch to Cade Hinkle from Goebel. Upstairs, 3-1. And scoreboard is turned off, and there's a switch over here that has the scoreboard turned on. It's still up. I have that turned on, so okay, as the scoreboard comes back on. It was not my fault that happened. The 3-1 pitch to Hinkle. Misses down low, and it's a one-out walk. I did mess with that switch when I first came in, trying to figure out where the lights were on in here, and I don't need the lights because we got the windows open. But
yeah, it's turned into a nice night. It was a little breezy, a little warm at first pitch of game one, but here towards the start of game two, the sun has gone down, the wind has started to go down. It's just a beautiful night. If you're a Pierre fan and you're out in the Rapid City area, come on out and join this nice crowd here out in Rapid City at Fitzgerald Stadium.
First pitch is upstairs to Andrew Coverdale, and it's 1-0 to the leadoff hitter. He got a base hit and came around to score the Post State's only run so far here in the top of the through the top of the second. One down here in the second inning, 1-0. Curveball that misses, doesn't come back to the plate. Now 2-0.
Yeah, and again, just a difference in strike zones. That was probably a strike in game one. Not to criticize the umpire, just a difference in strike zones. I mean, just nice hard curveball from Goebel, and he was able to catch the inner part of the right hand batter's box, but just a narrower strike zone from this home plate umpire.
2-0 is the count to Coverdale. Goebel from the stretch, and here is the 2-0. That one is low, and it's now 3-0. On deck is Garrett Stout, who got a base hit and was picked off in the top of the first inning. So both starting pitchers are struggling to work efficiently here in this first inning in the third. 3-0 pitch is taken for strike one as Coverdale was taken all the way. Well, if you see Coverdale swinging a 3-0 pitch, either the lead is very large or Coverdale just loves it way too much to pass it up. You got to expect that he's going to try and hit a home run on a 3-0 pitch.
Or
he's going to swing.
Or he got a big green light from Coach White.
Here's the 3-1 pitch to Coverdale. Runner is off for second. Hinkle, the throw to second is not in time. It was called a strike, so it's now 3-2. And we'll have a full count to Andrew Coverdale.
Goebel now at 49 pitches through an inning and a third, 24 for strikes.
And here's the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Coverdale goes down on strikes. Second strikeout here in the inning. And now with two down, Stout has got to find a way to put the ball in play and get a base hit to bring in Hinkle.
Yeah, credit to Goebel for climbing out of that 3-0 hole to come all the way back and strike Coverdale out. Coverdale's not an easy guy to retire, let alone strike out.
First pitch to Stout's taken for strike one. Shortstop got a base hit to the right side. Made it first and third on his first at bat. From the stretch, the 0-1. That one just misses on the outside corner, maybe a little high. It's now 1-1. Like you said, last game, it's an easy called strike from that umpire. In this game, it's not going to get that call.
With a runner on second, post 22 not deploying that infield shift over to the right side. Hartford, the shortstop, is staying at home at the shordstop position.
But the ground ball is to Tipton, and it will be a throw to first in time. So the one-out walk issued by Goebel does not come back to hurt him. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left on base. We have played an inning and a half. It is a 3-1 lead for Post 22. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second inning. It is a 3-1 lead for Post 22. Jack Van Camp on for a second inning of work, trying to be a little bit more efficient in this second inning. As it'll be 8-9-1 for Post 22. Jed Jansen, Thomas McGuire, and Branson Keel to lead things off here in this bottom of the second. Left fielder Jed Jansen will get his first at bat here in the doubleheader. Here in the bottom of the second, and there's you look out in the crowd here, and it's a nice sight to see a good crowd, a good sized crowd, as the first pitch misses outside for ball one, and the kids having fun. And you just kind of hope that that's how we can keep things and keep building crowds and keep allowing the kids to have fun and to be mobile around the ballpark throughout the rest of the summer.
Yeah, truly a picturesque setting. I mean, you're looking right at Dinosaur Hill out in center field, and it just is really a picturesque setting, and it'll be fun to see when the upgrades are done when we come back here next time. Because I think the planned renovation is about a $5 million deal, and we saw what $2 million did for Heights Stadium and Pierre, so it'd be really exciting to see what kind of investment the city of Rapid City and Post 22 are going to make into this facility, and what kind of upgrades, because this is truly a historic and probably one of the most notable baseball fields in the state of South Dakota.
The 3-1 pitch, a swing and a miss, and from 3-0 now 3-2. To the leadoff hitter, the number 8 hitter in the order, and Jed Jansen.
See if Van Camp can dig himself out of a 3-0 hole like Goebel did earlier in this inning.
He did, but he didn't finish the job as the 3-2 pitch is missed, and a leadoff man is on board with the walk, and that'll bring in the catcher, Thomas McGuire. McGuire's got a little bit of some shoulder work to keep that shoulder. I don't know if he's having some shoulder problems, but got it taped around his torso and to his right side. McGuire will look to lay down a bunt, and the first one is fouled back, and it's 0-1.
Yeah, it looks like he has it's almost the kind of a support or I wouldn't call it a bandage, but it's kind of a support around his left shoulder, his non-throwing shoulder. So he must have an issue where it must be kind of loose on him.
0-1 pitch. That one will be bunted back to the pitcher, Van Camp. He'll throw to first. Nobody's on third base, but Stout flies over to third to make sure that Jensen doesn't get to third base, and the sacrifice is successful by McGuire. And there's one down as they'll turn things back over to Branson Keel, the leadoff man in the order.
Yeah, and again, without having that spring season to work on that kind of bunt rotation, you hit on it. Third base was open. Luckily, Stout was able to run over and cover third, so the 22 runner was not able to get around second and all the way to third. But again, probably a point of emphasis for Coach White here in the next week or so, in and around that slate of back-to-back triple headers next week. But again, just the little things you work on early in the season.
First pitch was fouled away to the right side. The 0-1 from Van Camp. That one's going to be swung out to right field as Rasky will go back on it. It's going to go over his head and go off the wall. Rounding third and going to score is going to be Jensen, and an RBI double for Branson Keel. And it's now 4-1 for Post 22 as Keel continues to hit well in this doubleheader. And he's got one of the two hardest in the cycle, but he's 2 for 2 with a triple and a double now in the first 2 innings. So because he's got that triple, we'll put him on the cycle watch here for the rest of this game. And it's a 4-1 lead, and Colton Hartford will step to the plate. He drew a walk, came around to score. First pitch, he does go around for strike one as he tried to hold back but did not. Hartford, again, drew that walk, stole second, came home on a wild pitch. That made it 2-1 at that point for Post 22. They now lead 4-1. The 0-1 pitch, and again, did he go around that time? It looked like maybe he went around a little bit farther than he did the first time, and Van Camp might have been thinking the same thing as they checked to the second base umpire. And again, that's a hard call for that second base umpire to make. It's almost impossible unless it's a real obvious thing to say that he went around.
Yeah, you don't get the same look standing out behind the pitcher that you do if you're down on that first base line to see if he actually did cross home plate. And in the opinion of where that field umpire was, he said he didn't.
1-1 pitch is up high, but swung on and missed. It's now 1-2 as that time Hartford got a full cut on a Jack Van Camp pitch. Here's the 1-2 from Van Camp. Runner's taking off for third. That one's outside. The throw to third. Keenholz, he did not get the tag the first time, but coming off the bag was Keel, and Keenholz had an easy tag to get the second out. So it's now a 1-2 count, and Keenholz stayed with it, and an easy play for Keenholz to make after Keel did not stay on the bag on his slide.
Yeah, nice play by Keel. Nice slide to get around the tag by Keenholz initially, but unfortunately for Keel, his momentum took him over third base, and he was not able to hang on, and Keenholz just had to kind of crawl over and just apply the tag, and it was an easy out for out number 2.
The 1-2 pitch looked like it might have got over, but Hinkle came up over his crouch. Is now 3-2. Actually, that's ball 4. So that will be a 2-out walk to Colton Hartford. With that 2-2 pitch, came over. It looked like it came over across the plate, but Hinkle got up off his crouch, and the umpire, usually when that happens, the umpire can't see it cleanly, end up calling it a ball. And one that maybe Coach White and Coach Nazar saying, hey, Hinkle, just, guys, make sure you stay down on all those and stay down all the way through. The end up turning into a 2-out walk, and now here's Ryan Bachman, who got an RBI ground out in his first at-bat. He takes ball 1. Leading away from first is Colton Hartford. 2 down here in the bottom of the second. 4-1 lead for post 22. 1-0 pitch. That one's flown out towards right field. Rasky will go back to his left. It'll make the catch to retire the side here in the bottom of the second. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We have played 2 complete. Hardhats lead 4-1. You listen to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. 3, 4, and 5 due up here for Post State to open up the top of the third inning. John Winkler alongside Greg Dean as Post State trails 4-1. Here in the top of the third, Andy Gordon will lead things off, followed by Gray Zabel and McGuire Rasky. Gordon grounded back to the pitcher on a high chopper in his first at-bat. Jake Goebel onto his third inning of work. The first pitch is over for strike 1.
One of the things we talked about off air early before we hit the air and to do the pregame in game 1 is over on the first base or over on the third base line on the Rapid City dugout. They have a listing of all of the former Post 22 alumni who went on to play in the major leagues, including current Post 22 head coach Kelvin Torvey. Played parts of 3 different seasons with the Minnesota Twins and the New York Mets.
2-1's the count to Andy Gordon. There's a good several guys on that roster or on that little poster that they have up there. And for guys like me, now 3-1 to Andy Gordon, Mark Ellis is the name that stands out the most. Played for the Oakland A's and the most recent of those 4 guys. And it's fun watching Mark Ellis. That was one as a 3-1 pitch is grounded to the left side. A high chopper for the shortstop Hartford. The throw to first is in time, and the leadoff man is retired here to open up the top of the third inning. The last year when I showed up the Fitz here for the first time and had a chance to call the game and just kind of look around and look at the stadium and see Mark Ellis, and you realize I guess he was from It's one of those things that, when you're from Southeast Missouri, you don't realize who's from the Rapid City or just in Sioux Falls, or I guess in South Dakota in general, as the first pitch to Gray Zabel is missed inside, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, probably the other recognizable name that a lot of people might remember is Dave Collins. Spent a lot of time with Cincinnati.
As the Gray Zabel will chop it to the shortstop Hartford, tried to short hop that one, and it'll go through, and we'll see what the ruling is. That was a tough play for Hartford. I don't know the way that first hop went. They're going to give Zabel a base hit, and I agree with that. The first hop that Hartford had against Gordon was a nasty hop to him, so I don't think he really wanted to wait on another hop to try and throw out Zabel because he thought maybe that was his best play, and it probably was his best opportunity to make that play, and it goes for an infield hit for Gray Zabel. And the first pitch to McGuire Rasky is missed low for ball 1.
Yeah, and that would have been a tough play. Like you said, he's had a couple of plays where he didn't get real true hops over there at the shortstop position, and unfortunately he was able to get the first one, but the second one just kind of ate him up.
Rasky will go right back where it came from, right back up the middle for a base hit, and it's now first and second with one down here in the top of the third inning. And Rasky is now 1 for 1. Zabel's 2 for 2 in the ball game. And here's River Iverson, who drew a walk and was stranded at second base back in the top of the first. Well, that's a real good feeling for a hitter, a real scary feeling for the pitcher, but a real good feeling for the hitter when you go right back up the box. You're on it perfectly and squared the ball up right back up the middle. And the first pitch is strike 1 to River Iverson.
And again, here's another situation for the Eights where they've got runners on first and second with less than 2 outs, and we'll see if we can get some situational hitting or get a big hit in a key situation to try to either move runners over or possibly get an RBI out of the deal.
Iverson will chop this one foul to the third base coaching box for Coach Brian White, and it's now 0-2. To the left fielder, River Iverson. 1 away here in the top of the third, first and second. An 0-2 count to Iverson. Goebel will come set. Here's the 0-2. Iverson swings and misses, and it's now 2 down here in the top of the third. And this has been a struggle for Post State. It's not. 5 hits through now 2 2/3 innings. And you think 5 hits in those early part of this game, that's a good sign. And it is. You're getting base hits. You're just not getting base hits with guys on base and in scoring position, as the first pitch is taken for strike 1 to Matt Lusk. And if we had a good whole statistician team, we'd have some good stats in front of us right now. But the runners in scoring position batting average would not be very good for Post State, if would have anybody at all, as Matt Lusk will be flying out to right field, and Post State with a runner in scoring position go 0-2 for that inning, as the right fielder Blake Weaver makes the catch to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 2.5. It is a 4-1 Post State Post 22 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. First pitch to Ryan Bachman, Dylan Ritchie is missed for ball 1. Here to open up the bottom of the third inning. 4, 5, and 6 for Post 22. And a 4-1 lead. And during that commercial break, kind of looked back at how Post State was doing with runners at second base or third. As that one's going to be into center field. Matt Lusk dives, and he makes the catch. Did he make the catch? He did not make the catch. He trapped it. And so the leadoff man is aboard. There was no initial ruling from anybody. Nobody really had any kind of reaction to it at all. And it dropped for a base hit. So Richie's on with the leadoff single here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, I thought from up here it looked like he caught the ball, but the field umpire did not make a call. It took the home plate umpire to finally make a call and say that Lusk was not able to come up with that catch, even though he made a good effort to lay out and try to come up with that ball.
First pitch is strike one to Isaac Arnold, who drew a walk and was straight at third back in the bottom of the first inning. The 0-1 pitch, that one is on the inside corner, now 0-2. But for Post State, now through those 7 innings, and you go into those 3, so 10 innings of work, and they have just what we think is just one hit with runners in scoring position in this ball in the 2 games. This one's flown out to right center field, going back all the way in the corner as Matt Luss will make an over-the-shoulder catch in the right center field gap. And trotting back to first base is Richie, and that's a long run and a great play by Matt Luss to make that catch for the first out.
64 pitches, 33 for strikes for Van Camp through 2 2/3 now in this game number 2 of this doubleheader.
And then steps Blake Weaver. He grounded out to the second baseman and drove in a run in his first at-bat. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1. And that's, like don't know how many at-bats they had with runners in scoring position so far, but the one that we can recall with Andy Gordon scoring. And then even with, as that one's in the dirt, Hinkle blocks it up. The throw to second as the runner was off, and that one's going to get into center field, but it's not going to get far enough for Richie to get to third. So you look at the run that scored in the first inning, Andrew Coverdale, he came around and he scored off of a wild pitch. So it wasn't even somebody bringing Coverdale in to bring in that first run. 2-0 pitch. Outside, upstairs, 3-0 to the number 6 hitter, Blake Weaver. On deck is Peyton Tipton, strikeout victim back in the first inning. Again, 2 games on Sunday. We'll have a game break on Sunday as Post 22 will be in town. 3-0 pitch is missed, and it's a 4-pitch walk. And Coach Nas is making his way down the right field line, so maybe somebody's in the bullpen warming up right now for Post State. Here's Peyton Tipton. And Peyton Zabel will make his way back out and talk with Jack Van Camp as his first and second with 1 down. Tipton struck out in his first at-bat back in the bottom of the first inning. Again, but on Sunday, we'll have that first game at 1 o'clock. Post State will take on Post 22. And then we will take the game break as it will be then Post 22 and Renner to face off at Hyatt Stadium. And then after that, we'll finish out the night with Renner, Post State and Renner. And we'll be back on the air for that third and final game of the day. So we'll have a 2-game day for you. It won't necessarily be a doubleheader as we'll break it up into a couple-hour break. So it'll be 1 at about 6 o'clock for game times on Sunday. And then it'll be 3 straight doubleheaders, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at Hyatt Stadium right here on today's KCCR, today'sKCCR.com. First pitch outside for ball 1 to Peyton Tipton, the second baseman. Be a lot of fun to be back in Hyde Stadium. First chance to play at Hyde since the 2019 season came to an end, that region tournament that Post State hosted. The 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, 1-1 to Peyton Tipton.
And from, I've not been down on the field, but from what I've seen in driving by, the field looks like it's in great shape. Obviously not having any games on it so far, just a handful of practices. The field looks to be in great shape for both Post State and the Pierre Trappers, who will start their season here in about just a little over 2 weeks.
Yeah, June 26th, their first game scheduled for the Trappers. So their first home game, July 3rd. The 1-2 pitch, that was in the dirt, and a good block there by Hinkle, and it's now 2-2. So Hyatt Stadium will get a lot of use from July through all of July, really. There's going to be hardly any days that there won't be some kind of baseball game at Hyatt Stadium. So it's had a lot of time to rest, and now it's time to wake it up and play a lot of games. 2-2. There's a ground ball to the shortstop Stout. He bobbles it, flips to second for one. The throw to first is not in time. It'll get away from Gordon. It'll come back to Andy Gordon, but there's no throw to the plate, and the run will score. Coverdale tried to get that 6-4-3 double play, but most likely should have just put it in his pocket and kept it first and third with 2 down. But instead, now there's a runner on first, and that run comes home to score, and it's now 5-1. Will be an error. Should be an error charge to Andrew Coverdale.
And unfortunately for Jack Van Camp, his pitch count continues to go up. It's too bad that they couldn't have turned that double play and gotten out of that inning, because right now this is one of those times when you just put added pitches on Van Camp's shoulder. You hoped you would have been out of the inning by now, but unfortunately he's got to keep rolling.
Runner stole second base, and Peyton Tipton. Here's the next pitch to the number 8 hitter, Jed Jansen, and is fouled away. I believe it is 0-2. Maybe it might be 1-1 here to Jansen. It is 0-2 here to the left fielder, Jensen, who drew a walk and to lead off the second inning, came around to score. 0-2, just a bit outside, and it's now 1-2.
Nice curveball from Van Camp. Just tried to bring it in the back door in the outside corner and just missed off the outside part of the plate.
Here's the 1-2 now from Van Camp. That one is going to get the inside or the outside edge, and that one's taken for strike 3. Van Camp just put that in maybe just another inch into the inside part or the outside part of the plate and gets the strikeout to retire the side. 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. We have played 3 completes, and Post 8 trails 5-1 to Post 22. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, top of the 4th, it is 8-9-1 for Post 8 here in the top of the 4th inning, trailing 5-1. Post 8 still out hitting the Hardhats 5-3, 1 error each, but those 4-run difference right now on the scoreboard, and the situational hitting, the runners in scoring position hitting has not been there for Post 8 here tonight. And it's just one of those. I mean, it's early season. And you want to take the positives and work on some of the things that haven't gone so well. As the first pitch to Lincoln Keenels misses for ball 1. You gotta give credit to Post 8 for putting a lot of hits on the scoreboard. And then you got to say, okay, we got those hits. Now we got to drive in those runs when we get those guys on base. We can't let them sit out there the entire inning and let them be stranded at second and third after getting them on with nobody out.
Yeah, and the upside is they're hitting the ball. You get 16 hits over 10 innings so far. The downside is that you've only scored 3 runs so far if you're Post 8. I mean, 3 runs on 16 hits is just not an efficient piece of work. I mean, and I you understand that, like we said, it's early in the season. You're playing one of the premier organizations in South Dakota American Legion baseball, but you just you need to be able to put all that together. And so while there is certainly a lot of upside, there's some work to be done. And again, that's just something you'll find early in the season.
Keenels flew out to center field for the first out as Cade Hinkle takes ball 1. The 1-0 pitch That one's going to be out towards left center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit. And Hinkle will have his first hit. He's on for the second time here in game number 2. And that'll pull things over to the top of the order as Andrew Coverdale will step back to the plate. He's 1 for 2 with a single to lead things off in the top of the first and struck out swinging in the second inning. That's here in the top of the fourth, 6th hit in the ball game now for Post State. Quick pickoff attempt and diving back in safely is Hinkle. So here back to the top of the order in Coverdale, Stout, and Gordon. This is where you kind of want to see these top 3 guys really string hits together and drive in some runs. First pitch on the outside edge for strike 1 to Andrew Coverdale. You always have confidence, too, when Coverdale comes to the plate. He's such a good hitter. He led the team in batting average last year and always finds a way to at least drive the count up and make the pitcher work for the out. The 0-1 is a curveball that's taken for strike 2. That one was at the shoot tops. Looked more like it. And it's now 0-2, though, to Coverdale, and he's got a battle.
Yeah, that was a very nice off-speed pitch from Goebel, and now he's got Coverdale in a hole at 0-2, and we'll see what Andrew can do here as Goebel kind of looks, even though he struggled early, he's kind of begun to dial in a little bit here over the last inning plus.
The 0-2 pitch to Coverdale, that one just misses, and there's that good eye that Coverdale has and the patience that he has that sometimes can drive the coaches nuts, but the 0-2 pitch is just outside for ball 1.
I don't know that Goebel was overly enthralled with that call from the home plate umpire. He was jawing a little bit either at his catcher or at the umpire. I'm not quite sure where it was, but now he's hopping and he's kind of looking for calls now. I mean,
that 1-2 pitch was just about the same spot. He thought he maybe had him that time. Now 2-2. And give credit to Coverdale. He sees the ball well, and he laid off those 2 tough pitches that have been close enough for at least Goebel to 1. 2-2. That one's fouled back, and we'll do it again. So that's 3 pitches now with 2 strikes to Andrew Coverdale.
And I can tell you, whether it's anywhere from U13 all the way to the major leagues, umpires do not like to be showing up, and so I mean, like I said, it's hard to say from up here whether Goebel is challenged with his catcher, maybe with the home plate umpire. He does end up retiring Coverdale, but you can tell he's a little frustrated right now.
And Coverdale swings and misses a pitch in the dirt, and it's now 2 down for Garrett Stouts, who's 0 for 2 with 2 ground out. Actually, got a base hit. He's 1 for 2. He was picked off in the first inning, but he got a base hit as he's 1 for 2 so far in this ball game. First pitch to the left-hander Stout. Swings and misses in the dirt, and it's 0-1. Hinkle will get a good jump, and he will get to second standing up. And again, here's a chance now for Stout to get a base hit and at least drive in 1 run this inning to cut that deficit from 4 to 3. And this is going to be a weird if things stay the way they are here. If there's no change in the score, no change in the hit column, the 0-1 pitch, that one's flown out of play, and it's now 0-2. Post State will leave here tonight with 17 hits, out hitting Rapid City Post 22, but right now they've been outscored by 22 by 12 runs.
Yeah,
and that's just an odd. And that's just the game of baseball, and sometimes how that game works, but you just don't see that happen too often. The 0-2 pitch, grounded to the third base side. The long throw to first from Bachman will retire Stout to end the inning, and another runner is left in scoring position. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. We have played 3.5, and it's a 5-1 Post 22 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Justin Hewlett will take the mound here for Post 8 as he will get his first work here on the 2020 season. Jack Van Camp goes those 3 innings. He gave up those 5 runs, although not all 5 of those were earned. 4 of those were earned in that. He gave up only 3 hits in the ball game. As we look at how many walks he had, he ended up with 5 walks, 6 walks in the 6 walks and 2 strikeouts. 4 earned runs, 6 walks, 2 strikeouts for JVC here in 3 innings of work. And a 5-1 lead for the Post 22 Hardhats. And Justin Hewlett threw a couple innings back in, actually, you heard him throw a couple innings back on Memorial Day because we were playing playing a marathon of games, and he was part of that marathon that he got a chance to pitch against Post 320, I believe. Maybe it was against Bismarck now, remember correctly. But he had a chance to hear himself on the radio when we played those 4 baseball games on Memorial Day while we still waited for the coronavirus to come to an end and have some live baseball.
And Justin, I got a chance to watch him last year at the Junior Legion level a lot last year, and Justin is very much of an effective finesse pitcher. I mean, he's gonna hit corners. He's not gonna overpower you, but he's gonna hit corners. He's gonna keep you out on your front foot. I saw him throw a game last year where he threw, I think, 6 complete innings and only threw like 50 some pitches. I mean, it really was a masterful game. And he's got that kind of potential to really keep a team off balance.
It's 2-0 to the leadoff hitter, the number 9 man of the order, Thomas McGuire. The 2-0 is outside 3-0. We got a soft spot for those guys that don't throw very hard but know how to hit their spots, because that was how I had to be successful when I was pitching growing up. I never threw hard, but I could hit the spots, and I could frustrate everybody in the opposing dugout.
See, I was half of that. I didn't throw very hard, and I didn't hit my spots.
The 3-1 count to the leadoff hitter, Thomas McGuire. 3-1. That one will be hit out of play to the right side, and it's now 3-2.
Yeah, my nickname in my Legion days was Lightning because I never hit the same spot twice. Certainly was not because I had much foot speed.
The 3-2 to Thomas McGuire from Justin Hewlett upstairs. And it's leadoff walk to the catcher, and that will bring it back to the top of the lineup for Branson Keel, the center fielder, who is 2 for 2 with a triple and a double. So we'll see if he can get to that 3rd stage of the cycle. Hopefully he doesn't. We don't want to see him get the cycle here tonight. Love for him to get the cycle. You can get the cycle when they come to hide and face runner. That's fine, but not here tonight. Hewlett will go from the stretch. Here's the first pitch to Keel. That one's upstairs. Well, that might be one way to keep him from the cycle. I don't know if you really want to do that and don't want to hit him and put him on base that way, as it's 1-0. Throw back from Hinkle. I don't know if he lost the grip of it, but ended up bouncing a couple times, getting past Hewlett, but Stout was there to back it up. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Upstairs, 2-0 to Branson Keel.
Yeah, for Hewlett to be effective, he's got to be down in the zone. I think, again, this is first time out at the varsity level. Going to draw a mound visit from pitching coach Peyton Zabel, and I think this is just just relax, trust your mechanics. Don't try to do too much. Make the butterflies that are in your stomach fly in formation for a while, and you can do this. You've got the ability. It's just a matter of being down in the zone and letting your fielders help you, because like I said, when Hewlett is painting corners and throwing pitches at the knees and getting ground balls, he can be as good as anybody on the staff.
So Peyton Zabel will head back to the dugout, and a 2-0 count to Branson Keel, and we'll see what the mound visit, how positive that mound visit can be here for the senior Justin Hewlett. Upstairs, 3-0. And so now here he's got to find the strike zone and find a way to climb back here in the count. As Colton Hartford is on deck, he's walked twice so far. Here is the 3-0 pitch, and that one will be taken for strike one. Now 3-1. A good hitter's count here for Branson Keel, looking for his 3rd hit of the ball game here in game number 2. He's got 2 of the 3 hits for post 22. The 3-1 pitch, runner is off, and it's going to be inside and goes behind Keel. And so it'll be a walk, and the runner gets the second either way. And so here we'll bring in Colton Hartford.
One thing we haven't touched on yet, the amount of veteran presence on this team. 11 seniors on this post 8 roster. It's rare that you see that number of seniors on any kind of high school roster, and with the fact that this team did not lose a senior. There was no seniors on last year's team. They returned virtually all of last year's roster with a couple of additions coming up from the junior legion level. So kind of a unique circumstance for post 8 in the 2020 season.
Yeah, because Gray Zabel is going to be the only spot that would have been open for this post 8 team. That one will skip away from Hinkle, not far enough to get the man at second, McGuire, over to third, but it's now 2-0 count to Colton Hartford. Yeah, Zabel's spot was going to be open, but then everything happened, and he's able to stay with the team and play for the majority and good 75 to 90% of the season with post 8. So that'll be a big bonus for them as a 2-0 pitch. That one's popped up on the infield. Infield fly rule will be called. Andy Gordon will make the catch, and there's one down, and that's a big first down, and hopefully that's a building out for the senior Justin Houellette.
Yeah, and again, sometimes when you're a good hitting team like post 22 is, you kind of get it takes an adjustment to dial back and sit on a pitcher like Houellette, like I said, who will not overpower you, and so it takes, you got to see him once or twice to, especially if he can find the strike zone and just kind of, if you can kind of alternate, especially in a 7-inning game, if you can kind of go hard thrower to soft thrower and come back with a closer, that sometimes that can really mess up the opposition, if they have to dial up and dial down every time they step up to the batter's box.
Count is 1-0 to Ryan Bachman as Houellette will step off and make sure that Thomas McGuire doesn't get too far off second base. The 1-0 pitch to Bachman. There's a line shot, and it goes off of Keenol's, missed off the glove. He'll pick it up, and there's no play. And that one looked like it might have went all the way around. Keenol's might have made the catch at first, and the ball kept traveling around his glove and went off of him, and should be a base hit for Ryan Bachman. Yeah, they do give him a base hit.
That ball was just smoked down the third base line, and Keenholz had a blink of an eye to react to that, and he had it in his glove for a fraction of a second, but it just popped out, and he was not able to recover and make the play either at third or at first.
So now the bases are loaded here with one down as Dylan Ritchie will step to the plate. He is 1 for 1 with a walk and a base hit. He scored both times he's been on base. And with the bases loaded and one out, here's the 1-0 pitch to the DH. That one misses, now 2-0. And again, we can't see if there's any action in the bullpen in the right field line. I believe somebody was running out there, so I would think that there's somebody warming up for post 8. As here's the 2-0 pitch to the DH, Ritchie, upstairs, 3-0, and in danger of now a 4-pitch walk as Coach Knobs is making his way down to the right field line. So would assume that he's trying to check on whoever is out there warming up if they're ready to go. Here's a 3-0 pitch. That one is missing in a 4-pitch walk, and that will draw in another run. And it's now 6-1 as Ritchie will get the RBI walk.
And again, it's the bullpen is hidden because not only is it behind the fence, but it's also, like you said earlier, John, it's behind a bunch of shrubs, and so you really can't see from the Pierre dugout if whoever is down in the bullpen, if they're ready to go.
Isaac Arnold steps to the plate. First pitch misses low, and 5 straight misses here from Houellette. And now, if you're Isaac Arnold, you're probably wanting to take until you see a strike, unless it's just right down the middle for you. And there is strike one on the outside corner. So it's now 1-1. Here to the left-handed hitting first baseman, who's 0 for 1, who drew a walk, got stranded at third in the first inning, and flew out to center fielder Lusk on an over-the-shoulder catch. As the 1-1 is just a bit upstairs, now 2-1. Arnold in game number 1 for Post 22 went 0 for 4. So he's 0 for 5 so far in this doubleheader. 2-1 is in the dirt now, 3-1. And in danger of walking in another runner. Those ones on the scoreboard for Post 22 in the second, third, and now in the fourth inning hurt a little bit, but not as much as those crooked numbers. That one, 3-1, is a high fly ball to left field. Iverson come running in for it. He'll make the catch. Runner is tagging. The throw to the plate is cut off by Keenholz, so it's a sac fly, and that'll bring in the second run of the inning, and it's now a 7-1 lead for the Hardhats.
Yeah, just a short fly ball out into left field, and kind of looked, and I'm kind of watching River Iverson just kind of is trying to read his body language. I'm not sure he saw that ball right away because he came in hard and just kind of looked like after he returned the ball into the infield, he kind of was holding his arms out to his side, kind of like, I had trouble picking that ball up, and right now, kind of at that dusk time, it's easy to lose that ball once it gets up above the lights, and that was a high fly out into short left field.
1-0 count to Blake Weaver. Here is that 1-0 pitch, and that one will be ripped down the third base line, and it's a foul ball, just foul, and it's 1-1. That's a saving grace there for Post A, because that could have driven in 2 runs. It would have gotten in that corner. What might have helped is if that ball got just past, I believe there's an open spot that would be out of play down the left field line. Maybe there's a lower fence that keeps it in play, but if it would have got out of play, it would only been 1 run to score instead of potentially 2. Here is a 1-1 to Weaver. That one's flown out towards right field. Rasky will come in on it, and he'll make the catch, and that will retire the side. So 2-run score. After the bases were loaded, they were able to score 2 times. We're Post 22. As they did that all with just 1 hit in the inning. No errors and 2 men left on base. So after 4 innings, Post 22 has opened up a 6-run lead, 7-1. Back in a minute, you're listening to Post A Baseball. Today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here at the top of the 5th inning, as it will be now on the mound, Drew Sherbensky for Post 22. As Jake Goebel goes 4 innings, as he gives up 1 run. As you look through the stats here, 1 run, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts for Jake Goebel. He gave up those 6 hits as well. So it will now be Sherbensky to try and keep this a 7-1 lead, but for Post 8, maybe Sherbensky will have an off night, and Post 8 can take advantage and put a crooked number up on the board here in the second game of this doubleheader, looking to avoid a sweep by Post 22. Here is Andy Gordon, 3, 4, and 5, as it'll be Gordon, Zabel, and Rasky. Andy Gordon's 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts so far here in game number 2. Gordon went 2 for 4 in game number 1. He drove in both runs for Post 8. First pitch is taken for strike 1.
Yeah, the Sherbensky name is kind of synonymous with pitching out here at Post 22. There's been several of them that have cut a wide swath.
There's a ground ball to the shortstop, and Hartford bobbles, and he can't recover in time, as he did recover, but he just couldn't recover in time to get Gordon out at first. And the leadoff man is aboard here to open up the top of the 5th inning. I would assume that's going to be an error, and it will be, to charge to Hartford to open up the top of the 5th inning. Here's Gray Zabel, who's 2 for 2 with 2 singles, although he hasn't scored either of those 2 times that he has gotten on base. The first pitch to Gray Zabel is taken for strike 1. Zabel, we saw him pitch on Sunday against Mitchell, but we'll probably see him start at some point. Would think this coming Sunday. That one will get off the glove of McGuire. Gordon takes off for a second to throw, and it's going to be in time. Gordon didn't get the jump that he probably wanted, and Thomas McGuire with a strong throw up to the shortstop Hartford and a good tag, and Hartford makes up for that error, and McGuire helps out to make up for that error. And the leadoff man is now set back to the dugout, and their bases are empty with 1 down.
Yeah, ball kind of skittered away about, probably 15, 20 feet away to McGuire's left, and he was able to come up and make a strong 360-degree pivot and strong throw to second base. And like you said, John, Andy Gordon got a little bit of a slow jump off first base, and strong throw from McGuire was able to nail Gordon down at second.
1-2 pitch is fought off by Zabel, who inside it out into the left field for a base hit, and he is now 3 for 3. And what a big turn there by Zabel. But he will stop with his 3rd single here in the ball game. And boy, what a piece of hitting there for Zabel to inside out that one just over the third baseman's head, Bachman, and into left field for a real tough single.
And that's the difference between what a metal bat will do for you and a wood bat. Because if that was a wood bat that Zabel was holding during the high school season, that would probably have been just a weak flare right to the third baseman. But instead, as strong as Gray Zabel is, he's able to muscle that one out into the outfield grass out behind third base, and he's standing on first base with a 1-out single.
McGuire Rasky 1 for 1. The 0-1 pitch is chopped to the third baseman. Bachman will throw to second. The first is not in time, and a fielder's choice, and there's 2 down here in the top of the 5th inning. There also would have been a lot of shrapnel on the field if he tried to hit that with a wood bat. Probably would have split that one right in half if he would have tried to hit inside out that one that Zabel did. But Rasky grounds into the fielder's choice, and there's now 2 down here in the top of the 5th inning. So the leadoff man got aboard, but they've both been retired. And there's a runner on first with 2 down as River Iverson will look at ball 1. That one's taken high. Matt Lusk is on deck. Iverson 0 for 1. He drew a walk in the first inning, stranded at second base, and he also struck out swinging in the third inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It is taken low, 2-0. 7-1 is our score here in the top of the 5th inning. 6-6 for Post State to Rapid City's 4. 1 error for Post State, 2 for the Hardhats. 2-0 is looked at the letters for strike 1. And it's 2-1 here to the left fielder. Straight away here for Iverson. That sun has pretty much set as we near the 9 o'clock hour locally. 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss. The runner is off for second. The throw and a second is not in time. Actually, could have been in time, but was not fielded cleanly by the second baseman in Tipton. And Rasky is safe on the steal, and it's now a 2-2 count. With 2 down.
Hey, McGuire Rasky's got good speed. We saw it a lot during the football season. We've seen it a lot during his time up with the Post State varsity. I mean, he covers a lot of ground. He's a little bit deceptive in terms of he may not look like he's the fastest guy out there, but you give him an open field and the ball between the 40 and the goal line, he'll get there just about faster than anybody else will.
3-2 pitch to Iverson. He'll chop it over the mound. Hartford, he boots it again, and it'll be everybody safe at first and third. And we'll see if they will charge Hartford for another error. That was a tougher play for Hartford, but still one that he should have probably had, and they will give him another error. So he's picked up 2 errors in this inning. And even with those 2 errors, with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, they could get out of this with 2 errors in the inning without allowing a run.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to here we've got another opportunity for Post State to score some runs. Runner in scoring position, and we'll see if Matt Lusk can come through this time with a key 2-out hit.
First pitch from Sherbensky is taken for strike one to Matt Lusk. He is 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts to center and right field. Looking for that first hit here tonight. Did not start in game one, did not play in game one. The 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled back to the screen. Now 0-2. And Lusk's got a battle. Lincoln Keenel's on deck. And just, boy, this is when you know things aren't going your way tonight. If all of a sudden you are gifted 2 errors in the inning and you still haven't scored but may not still score in the inning. 0-2 pitch. And Lusk started to go, but he was able to hold up, and that one goes outside for ball one. And a good job by Lusk to be ready to hit, but also hold back. And it's now 1-2.
And nice pitch by Sherbensky. I mean, that's exactly the kind of pitch you want to throw at 0-2. Just kind of that curveball that just hangs off the outside corner.
1-2 pitch. There's a ground ball base hit for Matt Lusk, and that will drive in a run. As Rasky will score, Matt Lusk with an RBI single. And there's a runner in scoring position and a base hit for Post State and an RBI. And that's a big one to pull them within 5 and still with 2 down. Another runner in scoring position, and in comes Lincoln Keenels.
Yeah, and again, the 4th run of the night for Post State, but a 2-out base hit, 2-out RBI base hit. Something Post State's been looking for all evening.
First pitch to Lincoln Keenels from Sherbensky is on the outside edge for strike one. You're listening to KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station, just past the 10 o'clock hour back home in the Pierre area. The 0-1 is upstairs 1-1, 9 o'clock here locally. These two teams will meet again Sunday at 1 o'clock Central Time. We'll have it for you right here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. The 1-1 pitch to Keenels. Upstairs, 2-1 to the third baseman. On deck is the catcher, Cade Hinkle. Love to get it to him at the very least with the bases loaded here with 2 down. Sherbensky peers in for the sign. It will come set. And Iverson will scoot back to second as Hartford got all the way to second base, and a good job by Sherbensky just to step off because Hartford was going to be well out of position if he would have went home with it. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss by Keenels, and now 2-2.
Yeah, again, a big at bat here for Post State. If Keenholz can find a way either to advance the runners, get a base hit, and hopefully get an RBI, all of a sudden you got to get the eights back into striking distance. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Keenholz will look at strike 3 on the off-speed pitch, and that will retire the side here in the top of the 5th inning. So the Post State scores 1 run on 1 hit, 2 errors in the inning, 2 men left on base. And we have played 4.5. We head to the bottom of the 5th, Post 22 on top, 7-2. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Back here in the bottom of the 5th inning, as is a 7-2 lead for the Rapid City Post 22 Hardhats, as John Winkler alongside Greg Dean. It will be 7, 8, 9, Peyton Tipton, Jed Jensen, and Thomas McGuire to lead things off here for the Hardhats in this bottom of the 5th inning. Post State out hitting the Hardhats 7-4, but they trail in the score 7-2. First pitch. Looking to bunt his way on base, and a great bunt. Justin Houellette will throw to first, and it's not in time. And Peyton Tipton will drop down a perfect bunt to lead off with a single here in the bottom of the 5th inning. That's again, just one of those nights where it just seems to go right for post 22, and no matter what post 8 does, it just they can't seem to string enough together.
Well, and give post 22 a lot of credit. They do a lot of the fundamental stuff very well. They do a lot of the little things right, and it's not saying that post 8 doesn't do those things. It's just that they post 22 with their indoor practice facility across the way here. They spend a lot of time on the fundamentals. They have an opportunity to do a lot of that work in the winter and in the off season that a lot of other teams don't. And so it's and you have a lot more of athletes out here who are a lot more either baseball first or baseball only kind of players that and kind of like Pierre, you just don't have, you really have to rely on those multi-sport athletes.
Count is 2-0 here to the number 8 hitter, Jet Jansen. Justin Hulett, 1-1 to Jansen. 1-1 pitch is inside, now 2-1 to the number 8 hitter, Jansen. As Hulett is working into his second inning of action for post 8. There's the runner is moving. There's a line shot to left field. Iverson going over for it. He dives, and he can't make the catch, as that one will be a one-hop base hit into the glove of Iverson. And Iverson almost had that opportunity. And if he would have made that catch, it would have been tough to get the double play, but it would have been a good possibility of getting that double play with Tipton already standing on second base when that ball came down.
Yeah, as a base runner, you're kind of hung out in no man's land out there, because if you go too far and they catch the ball, you have a possibility of getting hung up at first base on a double play. And if you don't go far enough and they don't catch the ball, you got a chance of getting thrown out at second base. So you really are out on an island as a runner trying to go from first to second on a play like that.
0-1's the count here to the number 9 hitter, Thomas McGuire, and that one will be taken for strike 2, and it's now 0-2. That one right down the middle. McGuire must have been looking for something else. Couldn't pull the trigger. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 7-2 is the score, first and second. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one fought off by McGuire, and he will foul it back towards the first base dugout. Boy, that was another one where we pick up a lot of shrapnel if he was hitting that with a wood bat.
Yeah, really had to fight that one off. I mean, we talked about the inside-out swing that Gray Zabel used last time to get that single, and it was a similar kind of swing, but even a little further in on the handle for McGuire.
The count is still 0-2, and here is the 0-2 pitch to McGuire, and he will foul that one back to the screen. And a couple of post 8 players down there right in the front row taking the speed clock of Justin Hulett, and I don't see who it was, but he got fooled that the screen wasn't there, as he got a little scared as that one came through. 0-2 pitch again. There's a line drive. That will get down for a base hit. That should score a run. Iverson will be up the field, and the runner will score from second. An RBI single for Thomas McGuire as Peyton Tipton comes in to score, and it's now 8-2.
Yeah, just a line drive base hit into left field, and good piece of base running by post 22. Read the ball off the bat right away, and were able to score easily from second base for the 8th run of the game for 22. And now with nobody out and runners on first and second, post 8 is in danger of potentially letting this one get out of hand.
There's a ground ball to third baseman. Keenels bobbles it and has no play, and everybody will be safe. That one could have turned into a quick double play, but Keenels couldn't come up with it cleanly, and that will be an error charge to the third baseman, Keenels, and that will now be the bases loaded with nobody out. And all of a sudden, that winning run here in the bottom of the 5th inning comes to the plate. Colton Hartford. Justin Hulett goes from the windup. First pitch misses for ball 1. So he's got to work around an error. And again, not sure if anybody's warming up in the bullpen for post 8. But here is the 1-0 pitch to Hartford. That one's taken for strike 1. Hartford is 0 for 1 so far. He's walked twice, and he popped out to Gordon at first base on an infield fly rule. And those have been the only at-bat he's registered with those 2 walks. The 1-1 pitch, that one's chopped up the middle. Coverdale will try and flip it to second for 1, and all they'll get is that 1, but a good play there from Coverdale to flip it back to Stout for the 4-6 fielder's choice, but a runner does come in to score, and it's now 9-2. And that's the first out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, a tough play for Coverdale. He had to go far to his right in order to get to that ball, and by the time he got to it, really didn't have a chance to really turn that double play with Stout at the standing on the bag, and so they were able to get the force at second, but that was the end.
And Justin Houlette will come out of the game as Coach White will make a pitching change, and we'll tell you who it is after this minute break. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com.
Look at Will Van.
Will Van Camp is the new man on the mound for Post State, as he will work for the first time from the mound here in 2020, and we'll see what Will can do as he'll try and keep it a 9-2 ball game with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Again, that winning run is at the plate here to make the 10-run rule if Ryan Bachman would go deep. But for Will Van Camp, he's looking to try and keep this a 9-2 game and give Post State a chance to get some hits and score in the top of the 6th inning. And Ryan Bachman, as he steps in, is 1 for 3 with a single. He got an RBI ground out. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1.
Will Van Camp, as most people know, the twin brother of tonight's starting pitcher in Game 2, Jack Van Camp.
1-0 pitch is outside, 2-0.
And they are headed to different schools next year, both 2020 graduates at Riggs High. Jack is headed to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, and Will headed to South Dakota State University. So the twins are going to be split up for the first time ever.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting for mom and dad to have to, when they want to go visit their sons, they have to go visit one and then have to go visit the other one.
Or maybe meet somewhere in the middle.
Right. 2-1 pitch is inside 3-1.
Halfway between Brookings and Lincoln is probably what, Sioux City, Vermilion?
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, you can go watch a USD game. I don't know if Will want to go see USD play. The 3-1 pitch on its way to Bachman. That was popped sky high out to shallow center field. Stout goes back on it. He's going back over the shoulder, and he does not make the catch. The throw to second is going to be in time for the force out, so the run will score, and it's going to be a fielder's choice for Ryan Bachman, and it's now 10-2.
Yeah, that ball was skied out into really kind of no man's land out behind second base and kind of falls into that Bermuda Triangle in between the center fielder, the right fielder, and the infield. And Stout probably had the best angle on the ball, but tough play going away from the infield and just kind of fell over his shoulder, but he was able to recover and get the force out at second. But unfortunately for Post 8, 22 does score a run on the play.
And boy, Stout, when Bachman first hit that up, it looked like it was going to just go straight over second base. That one comes in and ends up hitting Dylan Ritchie, and now the winning run is on at first. So a ball in the gap could possibly end this ball game, as it will be Isaac Arnold, who hit one towards the gap earlier in the third inning, but Matt Lusk was able to track it down with an over-the-shoulder catch. And so it's a 10-2 ball game. Both teams with 7 hits. Here's the first pitch to Isaac Arnold from Will Van Camp. It's taken for strike one. I made that tweet earlier about the game being on KCCR, but also used that video for you. I think maybe 20 seconds went by, and Bill Van Camp decided to retweet that one real quick. He enjoyed that one. I know he enjoyed that one, and I guarantee that he'll have a conversation with you about it.
Oh, I'm sure we'll probably have to have lunch over about that one. I'm sure that'll be a prime topic of conversation.
1-1 pitch to Isaac Arnold. That one's fouled back 1-2. Well, remember back opening day of the 2019 season for the Pierre Governor High School team. He had made a tweet, and boy, we talked about him for a good couple innings. Every foul ball went back and said, "Oh, there it goes back to Mr. Van Camp."
Yeah, we were having a little fun at Bill's expense, saying he said he was in his car in the parking lot listening to us call the game, and so we were giving him a bad time about chasing foul balls for gas money.
Stout will make the catch on a line drive. Hey, who doesn't like a little gas money if you're going to chase some foul balls? And Stout makes the catch to retire the side here at the bottom of the fifth inning. 2-run score to make it a 10-2 game. They did that in 3 hits in the inning. There was one error charged to Keenels and 2 men left on base. Here, after 5, it is a 10-2 lead. Excuse me, maybe 3 runs scored in that inning. I didn't write that down properly. But 3 runs came in to score, and so it's now a 10-2 lead after 5 innings. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll come back with the top of the 6th inning. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the top of the 6th inning, it will be 9-1-2, Cade Hinkle, and then Andrew Coverdale and Garrett Stout to lead things off, as Post State's got a lot of work in front of them and only 6 outs to do it. Down 10-2 here in their 4th game of the season. They would fall to 1-3 if they can't come back in this one. First pitch is outside for ball 1. Hinkle is 1 for 1. He's been on base twice. He walked and then singled in the 4th inning. Been stranded at second base both times that he's gotten on base. Here is the 1-0 pitch. That one's popped up. Left side will stay in play at the bench, and it will hit the top of the dugout. And it'll go foul for strike 1. Again, Sunday we'll be back home for the first time in 2020, and it's going to be a great time at Hyatt Stadium and a chance to finally play some baseball in Pierre here in the 2020 season. So great to have that opportunity. We'll be on the air at 1 o'clock, 12:40 for the first game, as we'll be on 20 minutes before first pitch at 1. And then that second game will be around 6 o'clock for that game against Renner, as we'll face Post 22 Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. 2-1 is the count to Cade Hinkle, as he looks for his second hit here in this second game. That one's outside, 3-1. A couple of kids having a towel fight over on the left side. It keeps kind of distracting me. My eyesight keeps going over to him and trying to figure out what it is. Every time I start to truly concentrate on the game, that the eyesight goes, the peripheral see it. The 3-1 pitch is popped up to center field. That one coming in. Keel's not going to get to make it, and Hinkle kind of tripped over first base, but he's on with a leadoff single here in the top of the 6th inning.
Maybe how many leadoff singles have we had tonight, John? I mean, I'm sure it's been a number of them throughout both games, but again, going back to that theme that Post State's not having a problem hitting the ball. It's moving runners and getting runners across home plate is the Achilles heel tonight.
As Coverdale will pop this one up on the right side. Will that stay in play right at the dugout, and it will hit a pole and come all the way back to the third base dugout. But it's going to be strike 1. 4 guys, we've had 4 leadoff singles. 5 times in the 2 games that we've had the leadoff man reach base for Post State. And in those 4 times, I believe they've scored twice. And only one of those 2 times was actually an RBI hit that got that leadoff man to score. 0-1 the count to Coverdale. That pitch, that one's smoked into left field, and that was going to get down for a base hit. It's going to go all the way towards the wall. Hinkle will round second into third base, and then it'll be a no-out double here for Andrew Coverdale. And here's where Post State has got to find those 2 guys to touch home plate. They've got to get those 2 runs in because we'll have A.J. Gayden pinch hit for Garrett Stout. But those 2 guys are now in scoring position with nobody out, and they've got to find a way to bring in A.J. Gayden. He will get his first chance to hit here in the doubleheader. Second and third, nobody out. First pitch to Gayden is taken for strike 1. Gayden, who had I believe he had surgery last year and kept him out for basically all of 2019. I mean, he got a couple at bats, but that was about it. As the 0-1 pitch is a ground ball foul down the line, and it's now 0-2. And that's where now Gayden gets a chance to play here in 2020, but having that year off is really it's tough on him and trying to get back into the groove.
Yeah, had a nerve issue, kind of an odd injury in the fact that he had a nerve. As best as I can understand it, kind of just kind of come out of place, so to speak, and so it was kind of riding on top of either a bone or a ligament where it shouldn't be, and so it took took a procedure to get that nerve in his elbow or back into the right place, and thankfully for AJ, he's back this year, and again another young man who is going to add a lot of depth to this pitching staff and just add a lot of depth overall.
He looks at strike 3 as the catcher Thomas McGuire didn't catch it cleanly. He had to tag Gayden out, but that was a tough third strike call on Gayden. And there's one down here in the top of the 6th inning. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon, trying to bring in those 2 guys. And here's the guy to do it. If you want one guy up there, especially in so far this 2020 season, Andy Gordon's the guy you want up at the plate right now to try and get a base hit to bring those guys in. First pitch misses low for ball 1. The 1-0 pitch, that one's grounded just past the glove, and that one's going to actually go underneath the second baseman in Tipton. So Gordon will reach base. I believe they're going to probably rule it an error, and it'll make it a 10-3 game. And it's an RBI error, I guess. I mean, the run was going to score nonetheless, but with an error. So we're going to give credit and RBI to Andy Gordon.
Yeah, and
he deserved. I mean, it was a well hit ball to bring him in.
Once it got past the pitcher, it was going to score the run regardless of what happened.
So there is one out, and the runners are at the corners. And as Kobe Carr, that will loop it up to shallow center field, but at the edge of the infield is going to be a catch made by the shortstop Hartford, and there's now 2 down as Carr was pinch hitting for Zabel. And that will retire Carr for the second out. And here's McGuire Rasky. Rasky's 1 for 3 with a single. He reached on a fielder's choice. Came around to score that second run. As Rasky will look at ball 1 and 1-0. River Iverson is on deck. Here in the top of the 6th inning. 10-3 lead for the Post 22 Hardhats. 1-0 pitch. That one will get to the backstop, and coming in to score will be Coverdale. And that's now 10-4. So they did get both those guys to come score. That led off the inning with a base hit and a double. But it wasn't. It was just only one at bat that they were able to get one in.
Yeah, and again, if Rasky can deliver a 2-out hit here and make it 10-5, all of a sudden you got a little life in you, and hopefully the Eights can put something together, and if you can hopefully get them to go 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the inning, and maybe string something together in the seventh, maybe you can make a miracle happen.
It is a 2-1 count to McGuire Rasky. As Sherbinsky will deliver that 2-1 upstairs, 3-1. And again, on deck, River Iverson. Iverson has had a pretty good night from the plate. He was 2 for 3 in the first game. He is right now 0 for 2, but he reached on an error. Oh, the 3-1 pitch is just low, and McGuire Rasky has drawn a walk for the second time in the ball game, and that will extend the inning to River Iverson.
I think someone might be ready in the pen.
And it's first and second here with 2 down. No mound visit, no coaching change. Or pitching change from the coach. It'll be interesting to have a coaching change. First pitch to Iverson's inside 1-0. It's been a couple months. You got to give me a chance to get back into this too.
You're in spring training too, my friend.
That's right. That spring training 2.0 is started before Major League Baseball did. The 1-0 pitch to River Iverson. That one's inside 2-0. I'm glad we can bring it baseball because Major League Baseball is having all kinds of problems trying to get this figured out for them to play baseball. So glad that South Dakota was able to quickly get things under control, which helps that these guys don't get paid. They don't have to worry about any kind of payment, but to get baseball at least on the air for you. 2-0 pitch is fouled back, and it's now 2-1.
Yeah, I was listening to the couple of Baseball Tonight podcasts on the way out today, and if you believe Buster Olney, he certainly gave the signals that he thinks that by this weekend the players and the owners will have some type of an agreement that will bring some kind of abbreviated season back to Major League Baseball, whether that's a 70-some game or maybe an 80-game schedule. But I think you got to build a plan with a whole bunch of contingencies in order to allow for all kinds of different scenarios.
River Iverson draws a walk, and the bases are now loaded. We're here with 2 down, and might have seen a baseball come flying through in that out towards left field. So maybe we have a pitching change, or maybe just a mound visit here for Sherbinsky trying to work out of this. And right now, if you look at it, obviously we have Matt Lusk at the plate, and not saying that he's capable of driving one into the gap, but if you would hit it, he's the run that can make it a 2-run ball game all of a sudden. And if you hit one in the gap, you can cut this lead in half with just one hit.
Yeah, because with 2 outs, the runners will be going on contact, and you've got some decent speed on the base paths. Iverson being the key one at first base, and you've talked about his speed.
Exactly.
We've talked about Rasky's speed at second base. So basically, any ball into the outfield is going to score at least 2 and hopefully 3.
First pitch to Matt Lusk is upstairs for ball 1. And, of course, say you take a 4-pitch walk or just a walk in general and drive in a run and kind of pass it around and go station to station and bring in Lincoln Keenholz, who could get a big hit and drive in a couple of runs. 1-0 pitch. That one's looked at for strike 1. Looked like Lusk was taking it all the way. And the count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Yeah, and Lusk had a 2-out base hit the last time RBI base hit the last time he was up. So hopefully he can deliver again.
1-1 pitch on the inside corner, now 1-2, and Matt Lusk got battle to try and keep this inning alive. Drive in a run. 9 hits in the ball game for Post State, looking to make it 10 and drive in a couple more runs. 1-2 pitch. Outside edge, Lusk can pull the trigger, and he strikes out looking to end the top of the 6th inning. 2 runs on 1 hit. Let me take that back. 2 runs on 2 hits. We had 1 error in the inning and 3 men left on base. We have played 5.5. It is a 10-4 lead for Post 22. Back in a minute. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR. Today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the bottom of the sixth inning, we have a couple of defensive changes as A.J. Gayton stays in the ball game, and he will play third base. Lincoln Keenels will move from third base to shortstop, and those are the two changes as Kobe Carr pinch hit for Gray Zabel, and he moved into the DH spot, so he is not out on the field right now, as Will Van Camp will work into his second inning as he throws strike one to Blake Weaver, the right fielder. Weaver was the only man that did not come to the plate in the bottom of the fifth inning. The 0-1 pitch is missed low for ball one. He is 0 for 2. An RBI ground out in the first. He flew out in the fourth, and he drew a walk in the third inning. The 1-1 to Blake Weaver is just low, 2-1. So rather late night for everybody here traveling back to the Pierre area as we're at 10:32 local time. 2-1 pitch is outside 3-1, I should say. 10:32 Central Time, 9:32 local time. 3-1 is the count.
Here, we've had a number of just long pitch innings. For those of us that have to drive home tonight, you were kind of hoping that maybe we weren't going to have that kind of long extended innings one after another, but that's what it's turned into. And so hopefully there's lots of sunflower seeds and caffeine and no-dos for maybe some Red Bulls going back tonight.
That sounds like a good remedy to get back safely to Pierre. As the base hit was for Blake Weaver, who went past the diving second baseman Andrew Coverdale, and that will bring in the number 7 hitter Peyton Tipton, who singled the lead off the fifth inning, came around to score. 10-4 is our score here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Post 22 has gotten a run in every single inning, as that one's off the end of the bat foul for strike one. 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, and 3 in the fifth. All adds up to 10 in simple math terms, as Post 8 scored 1 in the first, 1 in the fifth, and 2 in the sixth inning for their 4 runs. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Runner is off. The swing and a miss, and no chance to get Weaver out at second. And so he will steal second and be in scoring position for Peyton Tipton. This ball game is just over 2 hours old now. Started at 7:31 locally, 9:34 right now. There's the 1-2 pitch. Line drive back up the middle for a base hit. Lusk didn't field it cleanly. Weaver will try and score. The throw the plate is not in time. Throw back to second to Coverdale, and they did not get him out at second either. An RBI is single, and advancing on the throw to second will be Peyton Tipton, and it's now 11-4. And now it's a 7-run ball game. On the winning run is now on deck for Post 22.
And once again, it's a 7-run.
9 hits apiece. Boy, just that scoreboard, the way it looks up there is just an oddity when you just look at the box score. First pitch is upstairs for ball one. 4-9-2 for Pierre. 11-9. So those 9 are the same, but there's 7-run difference, and there's 4 errors for the Hardhats compared to 2 Pierre errors. You would think, if anything, it would be 11-4 for Post 8 having the lead and not be down 11-4.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you go back and add in the totals from the first game, Pierre's gotten 20 hits tonight. 20 hits over 13 innings. Unfortunately, they only scored 6 runs. Yeah. While Post 22 has gotten 19 hits and been able to score 21 runs. And so again, if you're Coach Brian White, you can look at the scorebook and it won't take you too long to figure out kind of what you need to do, and that's spend a lot of work on some potential some scrimmage and some situational hitting, some 2-out hitting, and just putting balls in play and making good decisions on the base paths.
3-1 is the count here to Jet Jansen, as he is 1 for 2 so far here in the ball game. The 3-1 pitch is missed low for ball 4. And now so the winning run has come back to the plate here for Post 22 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And we'll see, I believe maybe at this point, Coach White and Coach Nas are letting Will Van Camp ride this one out to conserve arms for Sunday and conserving arms for next week as well. First pitch from Will Van Camp is outside, ball 1 to the catcher, Thomas McGuire. McGuire had an RBI single in the bottom of the fifth inning. He's 1 for 2. The 1-0 pitch is taken for strike 1.
And again, I'll go back to the fact that while Post 8 has struggled in some phases of the game, if you're going to do that, this is the time of the season to do that. I mean, you've got a lot of weeks ahead of you to try to correct some of these weak spots, and certainly there's a lot of athletic talent out on that field. So there's lots of opportunities to do that, and I fully well believe that by the time that region tournament rolls around later on in July, that we will be able to see a Post 8 team that I think truly will be firing on all cylinders.
As McGuire is hit by a pitch, so now the bases are loaded. Payton's able to head back out to the mound and talk with Will Van Camp. And we get back to the top of the order. So Branson Keel, who's got half of the cycle already with those triple and double. But if he could potentially get to 3/4, but I don't believe he's going to get to that cycle unless Post 8 has a strong comeback here in the top of the 7th. So here for Branson Keel, the center fielder, who is 2 for 3, will step to the plate.
Keel's hit a couple of balls really hard tonight, and probably not the guy you want to see with the bases loaded and the potential game-ending run standing on first base.
First pitch is outside for ball 1 to the center fielder. Again, wouldn't be surprised if we see him throw on Sunday, whether it's against Post 8 or against Renner. The 1-0 pitch is just a bit outside, 2-0.
Beautiful night out here. It's cooled off nicely. The wind has all but died down. The flags are just barely moving out in left field right now.
2-0 pitch. That was looked at for strike 1, now 2-1. I kind of made that comment that really at this point, every night's a beautiful night. We're going to play some baseball. As long as it's not raining and we don't have any rain delays or lightning delays, every night that we get to come out and play some baseball this year is a beautiful night. 2-1 pitch, but that one will hit Keel, and he will take his base, and that will bring in another run, and it's now 12-4. And so with an 8-run lead, a base hit could potentially end the ball game with Colton Hartford to the plate. And we'll have a pinch runner. And it will be Jed Sullivan that will come in and run for Keel. And here is Colton Hartford. He is 0 for 2 with a pop out to the first baseman and a fielder's choice. First pitch is low for ball 1. But you are right, Greg. This turned out to be a perfect night for baseball in all terms of weather and a nice sunset and everything. It was a picture perfect early June game. There's a throw to second on the ground ball to third baseman. Back to first in time, not in time. And so now another run scores, and it's first and third here with one down on the RBI fielder's choice. As Gaden threw to second to get the first man out.
Yeah, I thought it was a clean one hopper to Gaden at third base. I thought maybe the play would be to home to try to get the force at home and keep the force in play, and not a bad decision to try to get two going to second. And unfortunately, they weren't able to quite turn the double play, and the fly ball will end the ball game, and Post 22 will walk off with a 10-run victory.
An RBI single from Ryan Bachman as he shot it out to the right field gap, and that will end the ball game. A 14-4 win here for Post 22 in 6 innings as they sweep the doubleheader of Post 8 here tonight, winning the first game 10-2 and the second game 14-4. Back in 2 minutes to wrap this one up with the post-game show. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you into the post-game show, it is a final score and a 14-4 win in 10 innings for the post-22 Hardhats as they sweep the doubleheader 10-2 and 14-4 over Pierre Post State. Greg, John Winkler alongside Greg Dean. As Greg, you look at the hit column, both teams had 20 hits in the ball game in both games, and Rapid City outscored Pierre 24-6 in those two games. It was one of those, and the hits when you needed them weren't there for Pierre tonight.
Yeah, and again, give a lot of credit to Post 22. They played fundamental baseball. It may not have been the prettiest night. They certainly committed their share of errors, probably more than what you would typically see from a usual Post 22 type squad. But they didn't walk batters. Again, it speaks to the strength of their team, which is probably their pitching staff. And they did a lot of the little things right. They took advantage of some bad throws, some errors, fair number of walks from the Post 8 pitchers. And again, they took advantage and did the little things right. Right now, that Post 8 is just not doing, but certainly are correctable errors. And I think we heard Post White talk about that in the pregame interview. And so there's some Post 8's got some work to do, but I tell you, they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of athleticism out there. It's just a matter right now of trying to put it all together.
Yeah, and again, you can't say you got to be positive and say, well, 20 hits in two games. That's a lot of hits. Just that the runs are going. If you continue to have 20 hits in two games, if you average, or not even average, if you average 10 hits a game, those runs are going to start to come. And you're going to get those timely hits. It's just one of those things where that's the point of emphasis is now, hey, you're hitting the ball well. Let's now put that together when we got guys in scoring position, not just when there's nobody on base. And again, that's a season where you never got to play high school baseball. You never got into a rhythm of seeing any kind of live pitching until last Sunday. And now you're kind of seeing that, and you're seeing some of the kinks have to be worked out for this Post 8 team. And hopefully on Sunday you can see the corrections or those start to get worked out, as we'll see maybe some timely hits on Sunday as they take on 22 again, and then Renner as well.
Yeah, and baseball's a game about momentum, and it's a game about confidence, and sometimes all it takes is just that one game to get you going. Sometimes it's just one at bat, and so hopefully once you get through this opening stretch of 6 games, which like we talked about is a tough opening stretch, the schedule kind of opens up next week when you've got Rapid City Post 320, Aberdeen, and then Sioux Falls East, which I think are certainly present opportunities for Post 8 to do some good things, especially in front of the home crowd.
Yeah, and it's going to be exciting on Sunday. We get a chance to be at home, and been looking forward to calling a game at Hyatt Stadium again. We're actually going to be in the other room than what we normally are, just to kind of help alleviate at least until we get to July when the restrictions are all eased. Maybe that's be the way for the entire season. I don't know, but at least for this coming Sunday, we'll be over in the other room just to kind of help alleviate
the suite.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the suite.
The Winkler suite.
Oh, I don't know if we want to call it that yet. It's still got a long way to go before we start naming anything after me. Maybe more the Greg Dean suite before we get to the John Winkler suite. But Post 8 falls in a doubleheader here tonight, 10-2 in game 1, 14-4 in 6 innings in game number 2. They're now 1-3 on the season, and chance for Post 8 to make amends on Sunday and hopefully send Rapid City into game number 2 with a loss and put themselves in a good spot to face Renner on Sunday night, trying to go for a 2-0 Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening as they play at home at Hyatt Stadium. Their first of 8 games in a span of 5 days. 5 days for Post 8. So a lot of baseball coming for you right here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com, and can't wait to bring those next 8 games for you here over the next week. Thanks to Jen back at the station. Greg Dean to my left. I'm John Winkler. That's going to wrap things up for us here this evening as Post 8 falls 10-2 in game 1, 14-4 in the game number 2. As you've been listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR. Back on the air at 12:40 on Sunday back on the air at 12:40 a.m. and 12:40 p.m. time, if you can all get that straight. 12:40 will be the start of the pregame.
At 12:40 p.m.
Yep.
at 12:40 a.m. on your radio dial.
That's right. There you go. From Greg
It's late.
Dean.
It's late. Thanks for sticking with us, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. It's only 9:38 or 9:48 Mountain Time, but back home 10:48, and I'm usually in bed for a good hour and a half by now. But for Greg Dean to my left, I'm John Winkler. We probably need to get this over with here before we go too far. Final score is once again: Post State falls 10-2 in Game 1, 14-4 in Game number 2. As we say good night from the Fitz. Thank you, Jen. Talk to you later.